All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody out there in partner land and customers as well. Wanted to thank everybody for joining us here today. My name is Dante White. I'm a senior channel manager here at RingCentral. Very excited to bring this presentation to you today alongside of my good friend over here at Expereo. We're talking about getting to the cloud, right? Everybody's got an initiative to get there. And it's not as simple as one would think. It is pretty easy, but we want to make sure that you have a successful deployment no matter what cloud application you're going to be using. Once again, I'm joined here today by my good friend Jackson. Jackson, if you could say hello to everybody out there on the webinar.
Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon. This is Jackson. I am the Global Channel Director with Expereo, and very excited to be here today and in partnering with Dante and RingCentral.
Fantastic. So just a quick agenda. We're going to go over the current state of the market so everybody kind of understands where we're at here today, where we're going, why RingCentral makes sense, and then why SD-WAN makes sense, why you want to use a company like Expereo to get yourself to the cloud. Once again, if you're not doing a UCaaS project right now, you will be in the very near future. But SD-WAN is going to be a critical part of what you're going to do to get there regardless. Also wanted to give a quick shout out and a thank you to WTG and their team. They've allowed us to do this webinar. They've allowed us to reach out to their partners and customers and also helped us advertise this. Also helped us get over some little hurdles. We had a couple of hiccups on the way here with people leaving organizations and getting access to the meeting suite. So thank you everybody for being agile and reaccepting the new invitation. I know sometimes it's hard to make sure that you keep track of everything last minute. It does mean the world to me, as I know it does mean the world to Jackson as well as the Expereo family. So to start off, what about the current state of the marketplace? What's going on today that's going to make you want to start looking at hosted voice, looking at SD-WAN? If you look at the latest Gartner reports, by 2021, more than 50% of global enterprises are going to have an all-in-the-cloud strategy. They've also getting rid of their on-prem UCaaS Magic Quadrant. So those types of technologies are becoming outdated and very quickly being replaced with technologies like RingCentral and other UCaaS providers as well. The reason for that is a couple of different ones. So business communications has changed over the last few years. No longer is it a phone on a desk in the office. Today, businesses want to empower their employees to be more flexible in choosing how they choose to communicate. Desk phones, smartphones, soft phones to expand their voice capabilities for employees. I know as Jackson and I were working on this webinar together, we were using Glip, which is a free tool that we offer to the public. I can send that link out to everybody here if they're interested in doing it. But it's a collaborative tool, right? And Jackson's in the East Coast. You're in Florida, right?
Correct, in the sunny Orlando, Florida.
Sunny Orlando, Florida. And I am here in balmy, cold Colorado. We had a little bit of fog this morning, and it's looking like it's going to snow again. So regardless of the weather patterns and where we're at geophysically, we were able to put this webinar together and collaborate in real time. And that's why a lot of enterprises are going to the cloud and why they're going to continue to go to the cloud because of its flexibility. Leading right into that, if you look at the antiquated and the old on-prem technologies, there's a couple reasons why people are going away from that and going to a fully hosted solution. Obviously, the flexibility portion of it, so you have to buy for peak utilization, and often that is a guesstimate at best. Redundancy, the cost of additional hardware is responsibility of the customer themselves. Maintenance and hardware can also become quite expensive as well. Mobility is a big factor of why people are moving away from it and some of the costs that are incurred from on-prem technologies because, you lose a little bit of insight. If you've got people that are on a physical desk phone, but when they're in the field or when they're working remote, they're on their home phone or they're on their cell phone, you don't really know what's going on if they're on the phone, if they're available. But if you're using a UCaaS solution, no matter where you are in the globe, you're able to connect. Security is huge. We'll touch on that a little bit later, but yes, the cloud is very secure, particularly when it comes to RingCentral. There is encryption in transit and also at rest. Integrations too are a big part of that. Going back one more slide. So integrations are huge. A lot of the business applications that you're using here today or you're looking to utilize can integrate with cloud technologies very seamlessly and not so much with the on-prem technologies. CRMs, Box.com, things of that nature are really helping enterprises become more agile when they're meeting with their companies and meeting with their customers. UCaaS was built to be flexible. I mean, plain and simple. Connecting and integrating everything that you're doing, whether it's from a mobile device, very simple to do. You don't have to be certified to make the moves, adds, and changes. No longer is what we call in the industry a Mac attack problem. Those moves, adds, and changes that Mac, so to speak. Plus, I mean, you don't have to deal with all that spaghetti. I mean, look at that right-hand picture. It's a mess. It's a disaster. We take care of all the mess for you, so you don't have to. As I said, the public cloud that we're using is very secure. There's monthly FCC and third-party audits that happen. Continual investments in that infrastructure. Active failover. Like I said, we have 2 geo-redundant data centers here in the United States that run concurrent. So if something happens, we're able to switch over traffic. And also high trust and CSF certified. Huge part of the security portion of that. And when I interview and when RingCentral interviews partners, security is the #2 thing that they're selling. So I know how important it is for not only you partners, but also your customers when it comes to security to know that your voice is safe. It is a complete solution. So, you know, when you look at the past way or the current way of doing things, you might have a WebEx, you might have a Zoom license, you might have GoToMeeting, Google Hangouts. You have a lot of different places to do your communications internally and also externally. It can get very confusing for your employees and how they reach out to people. You know, somebody sent me a file. Where did they put that? Was it in my email? No, it wasn't in my email. Maybe it was in my Google Hangouts. No, it's not there. App overload is a real thing that's happening in the workplace. And when you go to a UCaaS solution, you can see on that left-hand side, we take care of that by putting everything all together. Your voice, your texting, your faxing, your message communication GLIP I mentioned earlier. You've also got contact center. That's all wrapped into nice one little bundle. The video meeting that we're using here today, while this is webinars, RingCentral Meetings is a collaboration tool that's also native to it. So it's a single pane of glass. It's easy to do. It's easy to administer. You've got one bill. Really simplifies everything. There's very little flexibility as far as price points are concerned because you're not having to worry about those extraneous variables. Seat cost is the seat cost. So for finance departments, it makes it extremely easy and simple to make sure that they make the choice to move over to a hosted solution. I'm gonna pause for just a quick second, make sure we don't have any questions, then move on to, you know, that was UCaaS, but why you want to look at RingCentral in particular. And as a reminder, this is being recorded, so if anybody wants to go back and revisit this, or you want to send it to your customers, your colleagues, anything like that, it'll be available on my YouTube channel. You can always go and find it there. So what does RingCentral make sense? When you look at RingCentral from this snapshot, it's pretty easy to see. We have over 450,000 business customers. That's from a one-user deployment all the way to you know, tens of thousands. I think we just signed a contract with Columbia University, 14,000 seats, north of 250 contact center seats, very large deployment. So it's no longer small mom and pop shops that are deploying. This is true enterprises, true, you know, multinational corporations as well, like a Brinker, for example. Plus a 99% retention rate. So for partners, it's huge. Your customers are happy, right? And they stay with you, and you're a trusted advisor to them. They're really looking to make sure that you're helping them make the calculated decisions. For the customers that are on the line, also good for you because now you just kind of, you understand that RingCentral works for you and it's going to continue to work for you. We have very happy customers. You can see we have over 3,600 employees and 3/4 of them are customer facing. So we've got 24/7 follow us on support. We've got our partners out there in the field. We've got people like myself, my engineers, my subject matter experts. I mean, we put a huge investment in our culture and our employees to make sure that that is articulated out to the end customer, right? And make sure that you're happy. Additionally, we're born in the cloud. We have over 14 years of innovation here in the cloud. We were born here, always been here. It wasn't an add-on. It wasn't an acquisition to get us there. We weren't on-prem trying to make that. We, as an organization, very quickly understood that cloud was going to be where it was, and so we got there. And because of that, we have a quarter of the marketplace when it comes to cloud UCaaS deployments. We spend more than any other organization as well, so we own our platform too. This isn't a white label of something else. RingCentral is owned by RingCentral, run by RingCentral, and we put a ton of money, $100 million, in our research and development. We are publicly stock exchanged on the New York Stock Exchange. RNG is our logo, our ticker. I don't know what we're doing today, but I know for the past several weeks we have been performing, we've been performing strong, but lately we've been performing very, very strong. You can look at us versus competitors, what analysts are saying, right? Not just us. Obviously, I work for RingCentral, so I'm going to tell you it's a fantastic solution. But, really look at what the people are saying. Baird, Gartner, Yahoo Finance, if you're looking at stuff like that, to make sure that you're investing and putting your eggs, because the communication egg basket is very important, with the right player. Global delivery infrastructure. So like I said, we do support multinational corporations. We've got 17 data centers across the globe. Gartner leader, we've been in a leadership space there for the last 4 years in a row, and do over 4 billion minutes a year in actual voice traffic. Kind of going back to that Gartner and a couple of the other awards, as you can see on the left-hand side where we were placed on this last year's Magic Quadrant, we are the farthest high and up to the right as far as it's concerned in that leaders box. So we have a very strong foothold on the industry, and we listen to our customers and make sure that they get out of their system what they need out of their system, right? We meet them where they need to be. That's why we have a mobile app. That's why you can get on it from your computer. That's why you can take your desk phone and unplug it here. As I mentioned, I'm in Colorado and we get some snow, and I'm able to work from home quite a bit when I need to. If I don't have to rough and face the roads, I'm not going to, and I don't have to anymore, and I don't skip a beat. So the foundation of RingCentral is based in its traditional cloud PBX, voice, conferencing, and fax solutions that you're used to. When you look at applications that include collaboration tools, video meetings, text messaging, contact center offerings, and finally the differentiators. This is where I like to spend a lot of time with customers and partners, is to really understand how this helps them out, is that analytics, that open integration, and that global office. So for businesses with the analytics portion, you can see call traffic, who's answering the phones, who's not answering the phones, who went to voicemail, which operators on, which operators aren't on. Taking a step further, we also have QoS reports, which stands for quality of service. So if you start getting jitter and latency in your voice, you're able to see why. A lot of times you start pointing figures. It was RingCentral. No, it was the network. Well, with our QoS tool, you're actually able to see why you're having issues. You can see if it's the ISP. You can see if it was your mobile app. Were you on Wi-Fi? What's going on there? Open and integrated, like I said earlier in the conversation, we have a ton of integrations, over 130 public ones, tens of thousands ones that are private. So if you have a home-baked solution that you've developed there in-house, you're able to connect it to the phone system. If you ever call into, let's say, your dentist's office, and they say, hey, thanks for calling in, Dante. I see you're scheduled for a teeth cleaning tomorrow. Is that why you're calling in? The reason why they're able to do that is they have an integration. They're connected. They see your phone number calls in. It pops up their CRM or their EMR, and it gives them the customer data and the last input that the person that talked to you last had there. It's great for a customer experience. Customer experience has always been really important, but in this next year, you're going to see that become mission critical as a differentiator for industries and businesses. We've got a webinar that we just did yesterday on our Engage product. That's omni-channel. You can talk to customers in Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and it all keeps their data together, so you don't have to retell the story, and it follows that customer through the phone calls as well, so you keep it all nice and bundled. As I mentioned, global office is a huge part of this, right? Being able to connect from your iPad, being able to connect from your iPhone, from your laptop, no matter where you're at, is huge. You got to work where you want to work. I myself, as candidly as I like to say, and as much apprehension as I have to saying is, I'm a millennial. right? Like I've never had a home phone. Ever since I left and packed my bags for college and went out and struck it on my own, I've only ever had a cell phone. I'm used to communicating that way, texting my friends, glipping now. I do a lot of glipping because it feels a lot like texting, but I'm able to do project management and things of that nature. It's a big way of the way that my generation and the generations to come communicate. So being able to scale that way, because I mean, whether you feel one way or another, we're coming up in the ranks, and we're going to become that next segment of leaders, and we're going to be making the decisions and things of that nature. So it is very strong to be not only where you are, but where you're going to be. I mentioned the integrations. Here's just a snapshot of what those look like. Box, GitHub, Jira. I've got a webinar coming up next month with Data Lake. If you're a highly compliant industry like healthcare, like finance, or if that's what you serve, you're definitely going to want to tune into that and see how that integration works. And going to that global piece again real quick, and why I also had Expereo jump on the phone, because they are a global network provider. We at RingCentral do not sell SD-WAN. We focus on UCaaS and UCaaS only. We like our customers and partners to be able to decide how they want to get their network connectivity, right? We've got a couple of suggestions that we'll throw out there. We have some certified partners when it comes to SD-WAN, VeloCloud, CloudGenix, Riverbed, Cradlepoint, GTT, Silver Peak, Oracle, and Tulare Networks, as well as Cato Networks are the ones that we say, hey, look, we vetted them. These are the ones that we feel work best on our platform, but it doesn't mean you can't use something else. And Expereo's got a breadth of knowledge when it comes to that. So, stay tuned on this next portion of it, where Jackson's going to be going over why you want to go SD-WAN, why you want to partner with an Expereo. But looking at the global infrastructure of RingCentral before I pass the baton, you can see the amount of countries that we're in. So we've got 80 plus countries that we have presence in, and 17 data centers across the globe. So making sure that you don't have that degradation that you might have been used to in the past when you're making a VoIP call. Someone calls you and they sound like a choppy robot. Getting rid of that by investing in the infrastructure. Having said all that, I'm going to pass it over to my good friend Jackson, and he'll go over why you want to look at SD-WAN, why you want to go with Expereo. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Dante. Again, this is Jackson, Global Channel Director with Expereo. Dante just gave an unbelievable and awesome presentation, so thank you again. The capabilities and the global presence of RingCentral that Dante just explained on the previous slide is really why Expereo is very excited about the partnership with RingCentral and, of course, WTG to help with customers' cloud migration strategies through UCaaS and SD-WAN. And this is where I will get into a little bit more about what is SD-WAN, the capabilities, why customers are looking for it, and ultimately why Expereo can be a great partner for you and your customers. Well, let's see. Right. Sorry, so it was a slightly lag.
Yeah.
Slightly lag, so I thought it wasn't moving. My bad. All right. So SD-WAN obviously is the big buzzword in the marketplace for the past few years, and I'm sure many of you are coming across both yourself and your customers. But what is SD-WAN, right? That's what everybody's asking for. SD-WAN is basically the biggest trend in enterprise networking today. Companies of all sizes are looking toward this next generation WAN technology as the best alternative to your legacy networks such as MPLS to connect far from offices to resources hosted in the cloud. So really in an agile and ever-innovating communication environment, I call it, SD-WAN represents the ultimate path into cloud communications, UCaaS, and SaaS for many, many customers. So why SD-WAN, right? A lot of customers say, okay, great, SD-WAN sounds awesome, but why SD-WAN? SD-WAN basically simplifies the enterprise connectivity to remote locations, branch and offices, providing the needed flexibility, visibility, centralized control and monitoring, and reduce overall WAN costs and the reliance on MPLS, which a lot of the mid to large enterprise companies in particular are moving away from the traditional network technologies of MPLS and trying to either create a hybrid WAN or a complete SD-WAN solution. And this is why SD-WAN can be a great benefit to their network. So what is your typical IT team looking for, right? Obviously, certainly IT teams are very busy. They've got lots of on their plate, but these are some of the major items that they're looking for. Starting off with improving bandwidth. Certainly every company is looking for more bandwidth as there's more and more connectivity and demands in the cloud. Reduce overall cost, of course, build resiliency to their network, improve productivity, standardization, and future-proof of their network operations. But certainly when a customer is shopping for SD-WAN, especially the enterprise companies, when they look to utilize and implement SD-WAN, they certainly face many different challenges. And here are some of the more common ones that we see on a daily basis. To start off, there are so many SD-WAN options now, whether it's carrier-based or hardware vendor-based. Where to begin? The customer is probably the number one question. Where do I begin with there's so many options on the marketplace? Followed by what's the best SD-WAN solution ultimately for the individual customer environment, as most seem to offer something very similar capabilities and functions on the surface. And then, of course, there's the logistical challenge in delivering, deploying, and installing SD-WAN hardware around the world once you actually have something selected. That's another huge challenge that most customers certainly face. Of course, followed by sourcing and deploying internet connectivity is another major challenge for majority of the SD-WAN vendors, particularly hardware vendors, as most of them don't offer internet service, which, as you guys know, with SD-WAN, connectivity is another essential part of that entire solution. And for many enterprise companies that are coming from a traditional MPLS sort of network, they were used to a single provider and invoice for all their locations. But as they start to shop for SD-WAN, they realize they now have to work with multiple vendors and invoices with both SD-WAN and internet service around the world, which are, again, common challenges that everybody faces. So why Expereo? And here is a kind of overview on who exactly is Expereo. Expereo is the global leader of internet and SD-WAN services. We manage over 3,000 vendors servicing across 190 plus countries globally, with 7 offices and 4 NOCs around the world, all under one contract, one provider, one invoice, one currency, one team. And again, that is very, very key, as most enterprise companies, when they look for SD-WAN, as I just mentioned, having that one single provider is something they're used to, especially coming from an MPLS environment. And it's certainly a challenge when they start shopping for such solution. So having that one single provider is huge for most enterprise companies. And of course, this is what makes Expereo very unique, is that as an SD-WAN aggregator, Expereo has an agnostic approach in offering multiple different best-of-breed SD-WAN options that are designed to fit different enterprise company requirements. As we talked about a little bit earlier, companies are looking for multiple different options. Selecting becomes a challenge. And as an aggregator, Expereo can help the customer design and select what's the best option for them. And that's why we offer various different flavors and options to best fit their individual specific environment and needs. So what are the sourcing models, right? Again, when a customer is looking for SD-WAN, what are the sourcing options? So Expereo offers a couple different ways for customers to source SD-WAN from us. So to start off, they can look at a hardware lease model where a customer may be looking to manage their SD-WAN service, but they don't want to have a CapEx expenditure, but rather have a OpEx expenditure model. So this is where Expereo can lease manage SD-WAN hardware to the customer so that it becomes an OpEx expenditure for them, where we take care of the logistics, installation, and maintenance in a monthly charge. which those things that I just mentioned, logistics, installation, maintenance, are some of the major headaches that many customers face when they look for an SD-WAN solution. We also offer a Expereo fully managed SD-WAN offering, which Expereo fully manages the hardware, the configuration, design, SLA, policies, and changes, of course, in addition to the logistics, installation, and maintenance we just talked about, all in a single package as a managed solution. Just like the customers that were used to having a single provider with a single environment of MPLS, we can basically duplicate that, offering SD-WAN in a fully managed manner, just like they were used to in an MPLS environment. And here's a comparison chart, kind of comparing the MPLS, what the global carriers offer on SD-WAN, the SD-WAN vendors, what they offer on SD-WAN, and ultimately Expereo. And this is really why Expereo stands out from the marketplace. To kind of touch this real quick, MPLS, of course, it offers the prioritization, optimization, and it is a managed service, but it's not very cost effective. It's very expensive, not very scalable, and certainly it's hard to operate with a very high cost. Then, of course, you have the global carrier offered SD-WAN these days, and it can be cost effective compared to, especially coming from an MPLS. It is scalable. They do obviously prioritize and manage service just like all the other SD-WAN services, but most carriers cannot offer internet globally. And that's one thing that Expereo does really well for the past 15 years. That's how our company was founded, was on providing global internet globally across 200 countries. And certainly you have the SD-WAN vendors. Typically they are the hardware guys that certainly offers the SD-WAN boxes, but of course they don't offer the connectivity and the managed service necessary to run a fully managed solution. And then you have Expereo, who basically check off all the boxes, and that are all the things I would like to call the nuts and bolts of what a true fully managed SD-WAN solution looks like, and this is what Expereo can offer to the customers. Right, having a little bit of technical challenges in getting to the next slide.
There it goes.
There you go. Now it works. It's a little bit of lag time, but here's a checklist of what when you're looking to implement an SD-WAN. These are the kind of the checklist items that customers should be looking for. Right. First of all, is local installation, especially if customers have SD-WAN or offices that are beyond the U.S. borders with offices globally. Certainly, local installation is certainly important. The logistics of shipping and deploying these hardware on a global basis. You want to have a managed service. A lot of customers are more looking for that fully managed service. Break fix, who's going to be able to maintain, provide the maintenance and then break fix on the hardware, the maintenance, the support, return on investment, of course, and ultimately, what options do I have when it comes to looking for an SD-WAN solution? And these are all the check boxes that customers should be looking at, and all the items that Expereo can provide from our SD-WAN portfolio. All right, and on this next slide, kind of talks about Expereo SD-WAN and why we're different, right? We talked about a little bit earlier in the earlier slide, mentioning the different common challenges that enterprise companies face when they're looking for an SD-WAN solution. And this is where Expereo can resolve those common challenges. As an SD-WAN aggregator, Expereo has an agnostic approach in offering multiple different SD-WAN options. Of course, while our engineers can consult, recommend, and design the best SD-WAN solution based on the customer's environment and needs, so we can help them select the best solution for their individual needs of the company. Expereo removes the logistical challenges as we deliver and install anywhere around the world, 200 countries. We can provide all the different internet technologies and diversity options, which is very, very important when customers are shopping for SD-WAN. And we can do that, again, globally and provide any type of internet technology that's available in our country. And that sort of completes that puzzle when customers are looking for SD-WAN. That's the puzzle on the connectivity side that Expereo can easily source and cover. And last but not least, Expereo can can and is the single provider for both SD-WAN and internet for all locations, domestically and globally. One contract, one provider, one invoice, one currency, one team. So then customers can feel comfortable, especially coming from an MPLS environment, knowing that they can go to a single provider that can take care of all of their requirements all under one roof. All right, so this is a one little gift right before the ending here. I want to call it's the peanut butter and jelly time, right? What's that dynamic duo? This awesome image we have here. What does that really talks about? And here we go. So UCaaS and SD-WAN. This is today's obviously presentation or webinar with Dante. Again, I really appreciate the partnership with RingCentral and WTG. And this is where UCaaS and SD-WAN comes together as the perfect pair, right? There are so many applications now running in the cloud. The modern enterprise needs a way to keep up with increased network demands and manage the traffic. This is where UCaaS and software-defined network, SD-WAN, come together to overcome a new breed of enterprise challenges. And this is why I call it's really peanut butter and jelly, right? When customers are looking for a cloud solution or they're looking to implement a cloud migration strategy, UCaaS and SD-WAN are the two essential platforms and items that they will have to look at. So for those embracing the power of cloud and UCaaS, SD-WAN is the obvious partner for the way forward. Again, I appreciate everybody's time, and please let us know if there's any questions that myself and Dante can answer for you. But again, really appreciate your time today, and turn it back to you, Dante.
Thanks so much, Jackson. Once again, I appreciate you collaborating with me on this webinar over the last couple of weeks. Folks, I just wanted to wrap it with kind of a summation of everything. Getting to the cloud is definitely a journey. There's a couple of different things that you want to get in place when doing it to make sure that it's successful. You can see some synergies between what RingCentral does and what Expereo does. I mean, we've been in this space that we've been in for 14 plus years, just like each other. Also globally enabled, so for the customers and partners that do business abroad, wanted to make sure that you knew that no matter where you're at, you're going to be covered. And making it easy and scalable, right? You've got one person to pay to make sure that all your connectivity solutions are taken care of. You got one person to pay to make sure that all your communications are taken care of. It's going to scale with you and grow with you as your business, because everybody hopes that they're going to be that next billion-dollar, trillion-dollar company, just like Amazon, right? Like speaking of Amazon, we've got some gift cards here that we're going to be giving away to eligible partners and customers. Not only did you make an investment in your own time and your own future to make sure that you were here today, and getting educated in what you wanted to do with your business and how you wanted to technologically get there, but you're also going to be given a gift. We do appreciate the time. Time is the most valuable thing that we have here on this earth. So checking through, I'm going to sit tight here on the line and answer any questions that come up. Doesn't look like we have any just yet. So Jackson, that either means that we knocked this out of the park and they have no questions because we've done a very great job, or it means that we have completely lost everybody. But either way, I'll sit tight here.
I think we have a shy group, maybe.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, I saw a question just came up. Can you send Expereo contact information? Absolutely. I think it was also on the previous slide, but certainly Dante and I will send both of our contact information out to everybody that are participating today.
There's Jackson's information up there once again, but yeah, we will absolutely send out all that contact information to everybody here on the webinar to make sure that everybody can get in contact. Once again, if you want to review this, if you want to send this out to your partners, your customers, anybody, this session is recorded. It will be on my YouTube channel, so you'll be able to find that within the next couple of days. so you have access to it and you can re-review it. If you have any questions that come up, please don't hesitate to reach out. Everybody have a fantastic day, fantastic rest of your week, and be safe out there, everybody. I appreciate it. We appreciate it.
Yep, appreciate everybody for your time, and definitely look forward to be working with everybody in attendance today. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.